So what is the basic approach which is associated with the backward error recovery scheme, in which the process is going to be restored to its previous state, to a particular state, you can say, which is free of the error. That state is called the prior state or the previous state, which is free of the errors. So the point in the execution of the process to which the process can later be restored, that point is known as recovery point. And this recovery point is said to be restored when the current state of the process is replaced by the state of the process, whatever it may be at the recovery point. So whatever recovery is done at the process level, it is simply the actions, the subsets of the actions which are necessary to recover the entire system. So as far as the system recovery is concerned, all the user processes that are active are required to be restored to their respective recovery points, and the data which is stored in the secondary storage, which are modified by the process, need to be restored to the proper state. Meaning thereby, if there are certain processes and one of the process, and these processes are working cooperatively, and one of the processes is going to failure, then whenever we are doing the system recovery, all the user processes which are active are required to be restored to their respective recovery points, and the data which are being modified by these processes are also restored. So we have uh, uh, two ways by which we can implement this backward error recovery scheme. One is operation based approach and another is the state based approach. So before we go into the detail of the operation based approach and the state based approach, we just want to discuss about the model of the system with which the backward recovery scheme can be applied, can be implemented. Now, this shows the system model in which the system is assumed to consist of a single machine, in which the machine is connected with the secondary storage as well as another storage device that is called the stable storage device or the stable storage system. This stable storage system maintains the information of the event when the system is going to fail, and it does not lose any information in the event of the system failure. So whenever a process is going to access the data objects which are stored in the secondary storage, the data objects are being carried out. A copy of that data object is carried out to the main memory, and if the access is a write operation, then the copy of the object in the main memory is also updated. Now, the data in the secondary memory is eventually updated when a copy of the object in the main memory is flushed to the disk by using either the paging scheme or when the process updating the object is, when the process is going to terminate, which is updating the objects. Now, this stable storage is used just to store the logs as and the recovery points, and the content of both this stable storage and the secondary storage survives when the system is going to fail. However, the content of the stable storage are much more secure than the secondary storage system, and it is assumed that the data in the secondary storage is archived periodically. That is why the stable storage system are more effectively, more securely store the information about the data as well as the logs which are available during the transaction. So as I discussed that we have two different approaches. One is operation based approach and another is a state based approach. The first one is backward error recovery scheme is the uh, operation based approach. In this approach, all the modifications that are made to the state of a particular process are used to be recorded uh, so that the previous state of the process can be restored by reserving all the changes that is being made to that particular state. And this kind of record of the system activities uh, which is done related with the state is known as audit trail, or you can call it as a log. Now, suppose there is a transaction which is happening and it is updating a database. Therefore, whenever it is being done, a transaction is updating a database. So it will be desirable to commit or undo the updates on a per transaction basis. Now, the commit is going to be a kind of an action which indicates that the process or the transaction which is updating the object has successfully completed, and therefore whatever changes which are being done to the database can be considered as a permanent. Now, we also know that there is another way by which the updation can be done, that even before a process is, before a transaction is being committed, before a transaction commits. Now, its update may be recorded in the database because of another process, uh, which is called the paging scheme. So therefore, if the transaction is not going to commit, if it does not commit, uh, its database update should be undone, whether it is using the paging scheme or not. But if the transaction is not going to commit, the database updates which are being done should be undone. So therefore, what happens that if the part of the database is lost due to the storage media error, it may be possible that it is required to reconstruct that particular part. So in the operation based approach, we try to made modification, whatever the modification is being done in the form of a states, and this is recorded in the form of a log. And we have two protocols which is applied for this operation based approach. First is the updating in places protocol, and second one is write ahead log protocol. Now, in case of updating in place protocol, in this protocol, every update means whenever I say update, it means that it is a write operation. So every write operation to a particular object updates the objects and results in the log to be recorded in the stable storage. And that record, which is stored in the form of a log in the stable storage, has enough information so that if it is required to completely undo, as well as if it is required to redo the operation, that information, it should have such amount of the information, such things recorded in the stable storage, so that it will be able to undo as well as the redo the information, redo the operation. So whenever information is recorded, so what kind of information is that whenever it is recorded? The first one is the name of the object. Second one is the old state of the object. And this is used for doing undo operation. And the third one is the new state of the object, which is used for the redo the operation. So a recoverable update operation can be implemented as a collection of these operations. First is the do operation, undo operation, redo operation, as well as the display operation. So what this do operation is going to do, the do operation is going to update as well as write a log record. An undo operation for a given particular log record, which is written by the do operation, it is going to undo the action which is performed by the do operation. And redo, it gives, which is given to a log record, which is written by the do operation, redoes the action specified by the do operation. So whatever is the meaning of do, undo, and redo, same thing lies with this also. Do means to update and write. Undo means whatever do has done, undo that. Redo is to redoes the action which is specified by the do operation. The fourth operation is also a very simple one, which is an optional operation that is called display operation, which displays the log record. Now, in this protocol, when a transaction is not committed or it is going to fail, whatever changes which is made by the transaction to the database can be undone by using undo operation. So if a transaction is going to fail or it is not able to commit, whatever changes which is done by the transaction to that particular database can be undone with the help of this undo operation. But the major problem with this kind of protocol, this kind of scheme, is that the do operation cannot be undone if the system is going to crash. If the system crashes, the undone operation cannot be done if do has already done. So if the system crashes after the update operation, but before the log record is stored. So the problem is very simple, that do operation cannot be undone if the system is going to crash after the update operation, but before the log record is being stored. So we have to look for another strategy, another protocol which is associated with the backward error recovery scheme, that is the write ahead log protocol. In this protocol, a recoverable update operation is implemented with the help of these two operations. The first is update an object only after the undo. Only after the undo log is recorded. Update an object only after the undo log is recorded. And before committing the updates, redo and undo logs are also recorded. If it is not done, then only whatever error, whatever deficiency which we are looking for in the previous case, that was the updating in place scheme, can be assured. So the crux about the write ahead log protocol is whenever a system is going to restart. So on the restarting of a system, after its failure, it becomes necessary to undo the changes which is made by the transactions that were in process at the time of the failure. So moreover, on the restart, redo operation may have to be performed if the objects updated were still in the main memory when the system failure happens. So therefore, both this undo and the redo actions should work properly, even under the repetitive failures, whether the updating in place or write ahead block protocol, whatever protocol is being used, it has to be taken into the consider. It is worth to mention that writing a log record on every update operation is a very expensive process, is a very expensive instance, because whenever we are doing the writing of the log record after every update operation, it is going to it is going to require the storage requirement, as well as it is going to have the CPU overhead. Uh, and and this kind of problem, this kind of expensiveness in terms of economics may be more associated if the failures are rare. So if the failures are rare, then it is very expensive to update every operation. It is uh, expensive to write every log record, update every log record, because uh, if the uh, failure are very rare, then why to do this updation every time? Even though if it has happened that there is a possibility of failure, then only if it is done, then it will be economical. Now, the second operational based approach, the second one is the state based approach. In this approach of recovery, the complete state of the process is being stored or saved when a recovery point is established, and the recovering of the process involves reinstating its saved state and resuming its execution of resuming the process's execution from that particular state. So in this approach, what we do, every state of the process is being saved, as well as the some of the recovery point is being established, so that whenever it is able to recover from the failure, we have to move backward and try to find out what are the different recovery points. And at the recovery points, the state of the system must be available, and it will be available only when we are going to save the states. Now, the process of saving the state is known as checkpointing, and the recovery point is referred as the checkpoint. Now, the process of restoring a process to its previous state or to the prior state is referred to as the rolling back the process. However, this rolling back of a process and resuming its execution from a previous state or the prior state, it is going to incur the overhead as well as the delay in the completion of the process. But if it is desirable, we do the rollback process, because it is desirable to roll back a process to a particular state as a recent state as possible. So whenever we are rolling back, we try to find out what is the recent state which is free from the error. Instead of going back long, we try to find out what is the recent state before the failure. So it is always advisable to take many checkpoints while the process is executing its operation. Now, the operation based approach as well as state based approach later on has given a combination of these two. By taking the advantages of these two approaches, has given another approach that is called the shadow pages. In this particular technique, only a part of the system state is saved to facilitate the recovery. And whenever a process wants to modify an object, the page containing the object is duplicated and is maintained on the stable storage. So from that point onwards, only one of the copy undergoes all the modification which is done by a process, meaning thereby either in the secondary storage or in the stable storage. So only one copy is modified. So the copy which is unmodified, the other copy which is unmodified, is known as the shadow page. So we try to adopt a system that at a particular moment of time we will be considering the shadow page, or we will be considering the permanent page. So if the process is going to fail, then in that case modified copy is discarded to restore the database to a proper state. But if the process is successfully commits, then the shadow page is discarded and modified page is made as the part of the database. So in case of shadow page, whenever there is a process which is going to make any updation, so what we do, instead of storing that updated information on both the storage devices, we modify it in only the one storage device, that is the stable storage device. And if the process is going to fail before the commit, then in that particular case, the stable storage device content is discarded, and which is unmodified, which is available in the secondary storage, is considered. But if it has already committed and then it is going to fail, then only in that case, shadow page is discarded, and the modified page which has been updated in the stable storage device will become the part of the database. So now how we do the recovery in the concurrent system? Because we know that in concurrent system, there are several processes working all together, cooperating each other by exchanging the information, either through the shared memory or through the message passing. Since we are discussing about the distributed system. So whenever in the distributed system, if the concurrent systems are available and they are cooperating with the exchange of the information, they will be using either the shared memory or the message passing scheme. So in this kind of system, which is a concurrent system, if a process which is cooperating with the other processes, if that particular process is going to fail and it resumes its work from its recovery point, then there will be an effect of this process when it resumes. So the effect which is caused by this failed process at other processes due to the information which it has exchanged with them after establishing the recovery point will have to be undone, because the time with which it has been failed, during that time what happened it is unable to know. So when it recovers from the failure and it restarts from its recovery point, then it is going to share certain information. That information may be inconsistent information with the rest of the process. So just to undo that effect which is caused by the failed process at an active process, the active process must also roll back to its earlier state. And therefore, in concurrent system, all the cooperating processes need to establish a recovery point. It is not only the failed process which has to come back into its prior process, which is the recent process, but the rest of the process are also required to come to its previous recovery points. Of course, this rolling back processes in the concurrent system is very difficult in comparison to the single process system. So we have three kinds of terms which is used for the recovery of the concurrent system. The first one is the orphan message or the domino effect. Second one is the lost message. And third one is the problem of live logs. So let us go with the orphan message and the domino effect. Now, an illustration has been shown, which is considering this particular system, and this system is having three processes X, Y, Z, and these three processes are cooperating each other by exchanging the information, which is shown by this arrow. And the system activities are going on with these three processes. And this symbol bracket is representing a mark of the recovery point to which a process can be rolled back in the event of failure. So we have one recovery point, another recovery point. We have three recovery points of process X, two recovery points of process Y, and two recovery points of the process Z. And these recovery points are mentioned, referred as X1, X2, and X3, Y1, Y2, and Z1 and Z2. Now, in these three XYZ processes, the process X, if the process X is rolled back, it can be rolled back to the recovery point X3, X2, or X1. Now, if it can be rolled back to the recovery point X3, if it is rolled back to X3, then it is not going to affect any rest of the processes. Suppose that the process Y fails. Suppose that the process Y fails. This process Y fails uh, after sending the message M to the process X. If it fails, it has to come back, it has to roll back to Y2. So in this particular case, the receipt of M, is already recorded in X3. But the sending of M is not recorded in Y2 because M is sent, Y has sent M at this point and it is failed. So it is recovery point is Y2, which is prior to that sending of message M. Now, we have now a situation where X has received a message M from Y, but Y has no record of sending it. Now, this corresponds to the inconsistent state. And in this circumstance, M is referred to as the orphan message. And the process X is also required to roll back. So X must roll back because Y is interacting with X after establishing a recovery point Y2. When Y is rolled back to Y2, the event that is responsible for interaction, the event that is responsible for the interaction of Y with X is to be undone. Therefore, all the effects at X caused by this interaction must also be undone. So this can be achieved by rolling back the X to its recovery point X2. Likewise, it can be seen that if Z is rolled back, if the process Z is rolled back, all three processes must roll back to its previous recovery points, that is X1, Y1, and Z1. So if this process is going to fail, if this Z process is going to fail, all the processes have to come to its first recovery point, that is X1, Y1, and Z1. So this effect, that is the rolling back of every processes to its previous recovery points due to the failure of one processes. If one processes is going to fail, it has to come to its recovery point, and due to that, rest of the process have to roll back to its previous recovery points. That effect is known as domino effect. And the effect which is caused to be a domino effect is just because of the orphan message.